Sacco and Vanzetti were Italian immigrants living in Boston in the early 1900s. In 1920, they were accused and then convicted of robbing and murdering two payroll guards in South Braintree, Massachusetts. And Sacco and Vanzetti were involved in anarchist activities, but they both had strong alibis, and the evidence against them was kind of shoddy, but despite everything, they were convicted and eventually executed in 1927. And their case led to massive public outcry, both in Massachusetts and internationally, because they kind of came to represent martyrs for the issues of labor and immigration and just general groups that were dissenting at that time because they were so wrongly accused and because it was clear that they had been wrongly accused and executed.
And this case is known as the case that will never die because it has ongoing relevance even today. The major significance is that it represents an example in American history of discrimination, of people being unjustly tried and convicted of crimes, kind of the search for a society that judges people not based on what they look like or where they come from, but also provides them a level of equality within the justice system. So it's an issue that's relevant still today, as well as significant concerns today about immigration, fear of the other and foreigner. So it has themes that are definitely continue to be relevant today.
So in the readers' theaters that you're going to see, our task was to use our learning and our research about this case and the quotations that we had gathered from historians and from primary sources and from each other about these issues of immigration and the justice system to hit our learning targets about this history and to share with you kind of one interpretation of how this is still relevant today.
And yet, I do not apologize. The tree of liberty is not only watered with the blood of martyrs, but with the blood of good Americans who are blown to pieces when immigrants come to our country, don't speak our language, live in their garlic filth, thousands of them overcrowding our streets. So this Vanzetti, maybe he was innocent. Although he might have committed the crime of which he was accused, he's nevertheless morally culpable because he's an enemy of our existing institutions. Our statute welcomes these people, these immigrants into our country while they plot our demise. So judge me if you want, but I'll say the same thing today as I said before. Do you see what I did to those anarchist bastards? Now, you may not like me, even though some of you may laugh because they said that I died sitting on the toilet. Make sure America doesn't go down the same toilet. Ensure loyalty, no matter what the cost.
We live in a land that is so free and yet so violent.
Nicolas Sacco and Bartholomew Vanzetti, both working men and dreamers of the
Brotherhood of Man,
who thought to find it in America after 7
Tortured
years in prison, were done to a cruel death by the children of those pilgrims who long ago fled to this land for freedom. They are at peace, but their voices are gone into all the earth, and they will be remembered with
gratitude and tears.
when the names of those who murdered them, statesmen,
Judges,
scholars, have gone down to
Everlasting shame. We
we
live in a land that is so free
and yet so violent.
2 Italians from North Boston struck a match that ignited revolutionary movements in Japan, Russia, Italy, and America, unfolding a complicated case about bloodthirsty justices of the elite Anglo-Saxon government, mingled with the cries of the working class, the impoverished, outcasts,
the overlooked,
the immigrants. Immigrants who came to this country, not looking for wealth, but dreaming of a utopia where ideas and thinking were honored, only to find that their ideas were fettered and crushed like the grapes from their Italian vineyards. This tale uncovers the difficult truth about an America who did not open her arms to the tired, the poor, the sick, in America who did not guarantee a man or woman the right to free speech. goes to the Sacco the injustice of an unfair trial, unfair representation.
We live in a land that is so free and yet so violent.
You decide who has the ultimate power in their demise. The hope is that in listening, you'll be reminded of the
Detrimental effects
of hatred and continue to carry with you a conviction for honoring their memory by celebrating and cherishing cultural differences that exist in the world today.
We live in a land that is so free and yet so violent.
We are not here to determine whether these men were
Guilty.
or
Innocent.
We are here to say that the high standards of justice which we in Massachusetts take such pride in, and to remind all
Civilized
people of the constant need to guard against our susceptibility to
Prejudice.
our intolerance of
Unorthodox
ideas, and our failure to defend the right of persons who are looked upon as strangers in our midst.
We live in a land that is so free and yet so violent.